Merry Crittersmas, everybody!
Welcome back to another episode of Film Seizure. I am Jeff Arbuckle.
I'm Jason Oliver.
And this is the second week of
Merry Crittersmas! Have a very Merry Crittersmas, everyone. Hopefully you're enjoying the Crittersmas season as much as Jeff and I.
Yes, and hopefully you got a big stack of hamburgers.
Yeah.
And you've got some eggnog.
Polar Ice hamburgers, to be exact.
Hungry Heifer burgers.
Hungry Heifer burgers. Made by the Polar Ice Hamburger Factory.
Yep. I'm gonna probably be dropping in the Hungry Heifer theme right about here.
At the Hungry Heifer, we won't give you a one steer.
And there
That is an earworm.
Yeah, that'll be stuck with you for a while, folks.
Yep. Sorry.
Because you're a hungry heifer. Yep. So this is Critters 2.
Critters 2. And you know what's funny about Critters 2? Critters 1, I mean, you listened last week. That is a fun flick.
It's fun as hell.
But I will say that the fun is mostly in the second half. The first half is fine.
Sure.
This is no bull.
No. This movie is just we're
hitting the ground running.
Yeah, it's no fat goddamn delight of a movie.
Right. It's a no-fat cheeseburger.
No fat. It's all lean.
It's lean. It's
Yeah.
lean. You know who wouldn't like how lean?
The critters.
Well, the critters may not, but that
like it fatty.
hippy dippy grandma.
Oh no.
Nana's
No.
not digging this.
No.
because she is
Eat
a hippy dippy
Eat your
vegetarian.
pistachio cake or whatever the hell she calls
It's a
it.
cashew cake, which sounds good, but I have a feeling it probably isn't.
Yeah.
It's probably bad.
It's probably pretty
gross.
pretty dry.
Yeah.
But Critters 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically 2 years after Critters 1, New Line came back with Critters 2.
Beat Gremlins to the punch, no less.
Yeah, it did. And it's a significant budget increase as well.
There's a lot more explosions.
A lot more critter effects, a lot more critters in general, explosions, bigger cast. It's definitely it does what you would expect from a sequel.
It ups that ante.
It ups the ante, exactly,
Ups that
exactly
ante.
right, and it gets to all the good stuff that you want to see.
Yeah, like right out of the gate, you see our intrepid bounty hunters.
Yes.
But it's not Ugg and Lee, which I just figured out that joke.
Ugly.
Ugly. It's Ugg and Charlie.
Charlie, yes.
And Charlie gets attacked by like a big giant space worm thing. So it gets exploded. So they got some creature effects going on.
Yeah, and
early.
Charlie has become a bounty hunter.
Yeah, he's not very good, but he's learning.
He's learning. He's yeah.
And
he's
certainly
found his purpose. He says later.
Yeah, this movie gets real deep, real fast. I didn't really appreciate that movie for making me feel like an idiot.
It made you feel some things.
Made me
Made
feel
you feel
bad.
some things.
Yeah. But we'll talk about that in a moment
But
because
again-
that actually is a long played out thing in the movie where it talks about being yourself and all of that.
Yeah, and I think that it lends itself to what I said last week about Charlie is really the glue of these movies. He is you've got Scott Grimes in both the first and the second movie, but Charlie is really kind of the heartbeat of these movies. He's sort of the redemption. He's the kind of guy that you root for. He's the everyman. He kind of carries that through to some lesser degree in this third and fourth movies, which we'll watch and talk about later. But really, the second movie is Charlie's time to shine.
Yeah, he has a hero arc, but no, this is this is going to be I think one of the pleasures of doing Merry Crittersmas. Unfortunately, there will only ever be 1 year of Merry Crittersmas.
Yeah,
because we're knocking them all out right now, guys. The joy of it is that these are nice, easy breezy movies.
Oh yeah,
we got some heavy stuff to talk about, and we've talked about heavy stuff in the past. We've talked about gross stuff in the past. We it's like this is easy breezy business here.
Oh yeah, this is just pure popcorn joy.
And it's so much fun to watch these little monsters just wreck a fucking town. It's amazing.
It is, and it's to get to the point of that. This movie really knows exactly what you liked and was successful about the first Critters movies and about the Gremlins movies. Right? It's all right. We've got the bounty hunters, super popular. Like that's kind of this movie's unique niche, right? Are the bounty hunters, and it gives you more of bounty hunters,
more bounty hunters, and a little. I mean, like okay, yeah. I mean, Scott Grimes, he's still kind of the lead,
yeah.
You know.
It brings back some familiar faces, so it brings back Scott Grimes.
You said Rick Grimes.
I almost said Rick Grimes. I did.
He's gone.
Yeah,
he's someplace else.
God,
now.
Scott Grimes has a terrible American accent.
Coral
Critters. It brings back Terrence Mann,
Yep.
our luxuriously haired, classically trained New England actor, Terrence Mann.
He kind of looks like Tom Petty.
Yeah, kind of does. Terrence Mann is kind of a curiosity. I want to meet Terrence Mann so badly. Terrence Mann, if you happen to listen to this episode of Film Seizure while I don't know, running your little Shakespearean theater in New England.
Is that what he does?
Yeah, that's what he does.
Road trip, man.
I know. I want to meet him so badly because I hope that he looks back on these Critters movies as fondly as I do when I watch them.
You got to imagine these were probably fun to make.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine that they aren't fun.
I mean, by the fourth one, he's kind of just in there just because they got to get a familiar face in. Right, he's not really a central part too much, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I mean, he's the other kind of part of these movies where like, it's fucking Terrence Mann.
Well, when he shows up, it's like, yes,
you know, it's kind of your first cheer in the movies,
right?
Is when you see him as the bounty hunter because he hasn't changed his face.
Right. Lee, on the other hand, can't decide on a face, and that's where we get to our first theme of the movie. So. We'll talk about monsters running mayhem and all of that. That's our other main theme. But there's a real serious undertone in this movie about being yourself, and you can't. What was it that he said? You can't live your wrong self.
Yeah,
that's a deep line for a fucking monster movie.
It kind of is
because it plays out later. Because so Ugg and Lee and Charlie get called back to Earth because fucking critter eggs from the last one.
Yeah, they're basically told by their boss, the crazy alien lady thing.
Well, it was played by somebody who had Garrett. It was like Mick director Mick Garris' wife. Maybe.
Oh, really?
Huh. Yeah, because Garris was the last name I can assume. You know,
yeah, relation.
It's not like Johnson or Smith or something. You know,
yeah.
So they get called back to Earth, and Charlie's like, well, why does Lee still have a nothing face? Why doesn't he keep the face he had? And that's when he says well, you can't be your wrong self.
Yeah,
and it's like, ouch, movie. It's like, man, you hit the wrong person at the wrong time with that message.
Well, it's yeah. And Charlie is still,
wrongful death suit, man.
And Charlie is still kind of figuring out his right self, you know. So it's sort of, there's this weird sort of heart to this movie.
It is,
yeah,
because later Lee goes through several transformations again, like he did in the first one.
Let's talk about his first transformation.
Into the lady?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that lady.
All right, so I got to tell you this story.
Okay, yes. Okay, so real quick. This is PG-13 titties in this movie.
Right.
The last time anybody has seen that was Titanic. Titanic and Critters 2, PG-13 titties.
PG-13 titties.
Yep.
So, all right.
Thumbs up.
So, when I saw this movie on VHS when it came out on video, I did not see
it was
this.
Probably around 89 or so.
And my buddy and I, yeah, it was right around that. I was 10 or so. And me and my buddy, Michael Bailey, where the hell are you, buddy? We loved the shit out of Critters. We used to watch it all the time. And then when this movie came out, we were super excited. We rented it. But when we rented it, my buddy was staying over at my house. And my house, whatever I watched was kind of like very hovered. It was not easy to get things past my parents. So my buddy we always hated it when he would sleep over at my place because like we couldn't watch the good shit. We'd have to wait till really late at night and turn on.
You guys aren't watching like Night of the Demons, or
no, we'd have to wait like really late and put on like USA Up All Night or some shit, to get something good. But I convinced my dad to rent Critters 2.
It's PG-13.
Right, that's exactly what I told him. I was like, Dad, it's PG-13. What's the worst it could be?
You let me watch Gremlins?
And he let me watch Critters. I was like, yeah, okay, fine. So he's watching it with us.
Oh no!
In the living room, and that scene comes on where the bounty hunter transforms into the playmate.
Yeah. So real quick setup: there's a Playboy magazine that gets picked up by one of the teenage characters. Basically, he helps find this junk dealer these critter eggs, and he's like, for payment, I want a case of Billy beer or whatever he said, beer, some sort of beer. Knucklehead beer, whatever it was, I can't remember.
Knucklehead beer. There should be a knucklehead beer.
But anyway, and he's like,
beer.
and I want one of these too. And he grabs a Playboy. And the Playboy falls out of his truck or Jeep or whatever. And so again, Charlie and Lee show up and find, and like Charlie picks up the Playboy and is like showing Ugg and Lee. It's like, this is American culture.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And then Lee starts to transform, and Charlie is afraid that Lee is going to transform into him again. So he pulls out the centerfold and holds it up to Lee, and Lee of course transforms.
And the centerfold is like all busty tits out.
Oh yeah, and it's a very accurate transformation, right down to the staple from the magazine. It's in her stomach. It's in her like torso. Yeah, but she like grows breasts. They burst out of her,
and she's topless for her first scene.
And she's totally topless. Yeah, and at this point, watching this at home with my dad in the living room, I start nervously laughing, right, and then I start really laughing like hard. And you remember the scene? The upside down face scene in Family Guy where Stewie just turns his head slowly to look at, was it Brian maybe?
Yes, it was Brian because he's that's really got to turn your world upside down face.
Yes.
And Stewie turns his
Yeah, that was my dad. My dad just turned his head slowly at me and gave me the look of absolute death. And I just couldn't stop laughing, and I was like, "It's okay, it's okay." And I think I also said something about them being fake, like it's okay, they're like fake breasts or something. Which I'm like 10 years old. I don't even know if I know what fake breasts are, but I'm just trying everything. And meanwhile, my buddy Michael, who can watch whatever the fuck he wants at his house, is just sitting there like, "What the fuck's going down?" But to my dad's credit, he let the moment pass, and it was fine from that point forward. But it was like, I thought it was going to be safe, because that was always my parents' thing, was nudity.
Sure.
And sex. They didn't really care about violence too much.
Yeah.
They didn't even really care about language too much.
Yeah, like my mom always would say, it's like, whatever you hear, just don't repeat it.
Yeah.
You're not old enough to understand what you're saying, sort of thing. But like with nudity, it's like I was
not expecting two giant tits in this PG-13 movie,
like square, like perfectly framed in the shot.
And like my 10, 11-year-old self really appreciated it, but at the same time, I was like, "No, come on, you're fucking me over, movie." It's like my dad is never gonna let me pick a movie again. Like shit.
That is fantastic. So. But the funny thing is that it's like, okay, well, it's like now you got like a hot badass chick,
Yeah, she's got that 80s hair.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah,
but that's not the only transformation that Lee goes through.
No, it's not,
because for some reason Lee thinks it's a good idea to turn into Eddie Deason. Eddie Deason is the prototypical nerd. He was the nerd in the Grease movies. Yeah. He was a nerd in
It was a War Games.
He was not in Revenge of the Nerds.
No.
To the surprise of me, he probably couldn't afford Eddie Deason money for Revenge of the Nerds by then. But he was a character actor from like the late 70s through the mid 80s, and beyond a little bit. But
just a complete goofball.
He's a goofball, man. Like everything about his fucking punchable face.
Yeah, his voice. It's kind of nasally and punchy.
Voice.
The way he walks.
Oh, it's terrible.
Man,
It's just terrible. He is.
But there couldn't be a more perfect contrast.
No,
Between those two transformations.
So he turns into Eddie Deason, still wearing the sexy clothes.
And he says, "Kill Kreitz." It's wonderful.
Yeah,
It's wonderful.
yeah. It In fact, I think you hear his voice in our outro for Kill Kreitz. Anyway,
Kill Kreitz.
yeah. So anyway,
And then he almost transforms into
Charlie again.
Well, Freddy Krueger
Freddy
first.
Krueger. That's right.
There's a Freddy Krueger standee.
That's right. So they're going through town, and like they pass like the town's like video store, which, you know, I'm surprised there wasn't like some Kreitz in there like punching a Gremlins box or something.
Oh,
you know.
yeah, absolutely.
That's a missed opportunity, Robert
Yeah,
Shea.
that really is.
Mick Garris. You guys really fucking dropped the ball on that one.
They definitely snuck into Freddy Krueger. But
there was a Freddy Krueger standee from like one of the movies, probably like, you know, 3 or 4 or whatever. Yeah. And so like Lee's about to transform into it, and like Charlie's like, no. It's like, again, you dropping the ball here a little bit. This is a New Line movie.
They really should have just gone with that. That would have been pretty funny.
At least for just a moment.
Yeah.
Until
like a Robert Englund cameo, man.
Yeah, kill Kreitz, bitch.
Kill Kreitz, bitch. That would have been perfect, right?
Anyway.
That is a huge missed opportunity.
Yeah, drop the ball on that one, New Line.
I feel like
I don't know how you'll ever recover from dropping that ball.
I feel like they could still shoot it and insert it in.
Now?
Yeah.
Sure, special edition.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's like...
Fuck it, let's call it Mick Garris.
Mick Garris, what are you up to? Making a shitty Stephen King movie?
Yeah. Oh, we're going to get to Mick Garris.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, we are.
Fuck.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just the
Mick? Just the tip?
Just the Mick.
Just the Mick.
The little Mick.
Fuck. Anyway, but thankfully, before you could before you could turn into Freddy Krueger, you know, Charlie holds up the centerfold
again. Yeah,
and we get Hot Blonde Babe.
Yeah, she goes back to Hot Blonde Babe,
and
then the critter set a trap for her.
Oh, I know. She gets murdered.
And this is where we get some real feels.
Yeah, because so Lee gets killed by the Kreitz.
Yeah,
they like eat her up.
Yeah, they totally eat her up,
except for her arm.
Well, her arm's all like bone.
Well, except for the hand, I guess. Yeah. And Lee or Ugg is like, nah, bro.
Yeah, he freaks out. He
has like a Klingon funeral.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to his plain no face.
Yep. And he doesn't speak for the rest of the movie until the very end.
Until the very end.
And Terrence Mann is out.
He's gone. I'm out.
It's almost like it was some sort of agreement maybe with Terrence Mann that, well, I don't really want to be in
the
this.
Terrence Mann money probably
I'll come back. Yeah, exactly. I'll come back, but I don't want to be. I only have so many days. I don't know. I would almost guarantee that they had to sort of write him out of the script
or something. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine
because he's only in like the first half.
Yeah. Because then it's up to Charlie then to like have his arc.
It really does become Charlie's movie.
Yeah, because then Charlie has to decide that he really is the bounty hunter. Because at first he's like telling Ugg, he's like, I'm not good enough.
I can't do this
by myself. But Ugg's like just looks totally depressed.
He's totally despondent.
Also
like his face is so blank.
No. It's like he's lost all feeling and expression.
He shows no expression or emotion.
I know.
The rest of the movie.
Well, it would be great in the special edition that we're planning. Again, Mick Garris, call us up. To have just for like a second, have depressed Ugg and then like freeze frame on it and pull in on it with some sad music.
Oh my God, it'd be
like some Sarah McLachlan music.
It'd be amazing. Yeah, it'd be amazing. Like, go right into where his eyes should be.
Yeah.
God damn it, Mick Garris.
Hire us,
as much as
people.
we love this movie, it could have been better.
Yes.
Wow.
But it's hard to be better than what.
True. It's pretty perfect, honestly.
Not only do we find out that in the first movie do Krites have a word for fuck.
Yeah.
They also have a word for bitchin'.
Bitchin'. The one critter gets his hair.
Let's set up the whole scene.
Oh, okay.
It's the centerpiece of the movie.
It really is.
The hungry heifer. Go for it.
All right, so yeah, I mean it's kind of like that scene from the first movie where they go into the bowling alley. It's sort of like that, except everyone is already abandoned this hungry heifer burger joint
because
the critters have totally taken over,
Yeah.
and it's they're in the buffet. They're flipping burgers. I mean,
Yeah, there's a fry cook critter.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. It's very, very Gremlins.
Yeah, it's like because now you're seeing individual personalities play out,
and it's total mayhem, and they're funny and silly and doing stupid shit. And then the bounty hunters
there's
come
a
in.
couple of them with the salad tongs, like tossing salad around.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
And then of course they see the bounty hunters, and it's
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
and
And
the
they
bounty
just
hunters start
start
blowing
blowing
shit away. Yeah, like oh my god, the critters are being blown into bits of goo everywhere. But one of them gets his hair on his head blown off.
Yeah, he looks like he's got like male pattern. He's got like bozo hair. you
Yeah,
know?
it's kind of like the power donut
Yeah.
thing. Right. Like fucking Lyndon B. Johnson.
Yeah.
You know? And he says, bitchin'.
Yeah, and how
And whatever critters speak,
speak.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's subtitled. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's high art, guys.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's a subtitled movie.
Yeah.
It's not overdubbed.
Yeah.
This
is a foreign film.
Yeah, it's
And it's mwah, mwah.
art.
Artiste, cinema verite. It's truth. This is truth.
Cinema verite. You know what Gremlins didn't do?
What didn't it do?
It had overdubbing. They were speaking English.
That's true. That's true. See? What up?
Doesn't matter.
That's
Gremlins
schlock.
still does. No!
Shock.
No, this is. I think if there's one, if you were to say, okay, which Critters movie should I watch? There's 4 of them. Which one should I watch? I'm going to pick 2.
I think here's the thing. I'm gonna make a ridiculous comparison.
Oh no!
It's like people ask me
which Shakespeare you want.
Well,
to
I'm not gonna go quite that ridiculous. They may ask
Cinema
me-
verite.
I really like the Alien movies.
Okay,
and
fair
while
enough.
I think that Alien is the best of the Alien movies, it's not the one I watch the most. The one I watch the most is Aliens.
Because you got Space Marines and
that-
Space Bazookas.
That movie cooks, right?
Yeah.
It just moves. It
Cooks.
is just delight all the way through. And that's the way Critters 2 is to
Yeah.
Critters 1. I think if you've never seen a Critters movie, I think you should start with the first one. I mean,
But if you only have 83 minutes and you
in
got to
your
watch
life,
in your life,
then all right, watch
2.
Critters 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
two's the one.
You're going to have fun. I mean,
yeah,
you'll have
It's-
fun watching either one of them, but
Yeah, but the first one you got to have all that characterization,
There's a
set
lot
up,
of-
and this one's just like right from the get go.
Yeah.
It's like we got bounty hunters and we got critters.
it knows what you
What do
came
you
for.
need?
It knows exactly what you came for.
Yeah.
And it's
I
almost I mean it is beyond ridiculous, but you know, they've got 3 or 4 baskets of critter eggs that they find, and then by the end of the movie there's hundreds of critters. It's like, how is this fucking happening? Like in the Gremlins movies, they drive that by logic, you know, like they multiply.
Yeah.
In this movie it's like we don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's like we see Spike jump into the pool at the YMCA.
Right.
You know, it's like we know why there's so many.
In the movie theater and
right.
shit. Right.
We know
yeah.
why they got there.
But
This
movie,
one doesn't
does
fucking
not
matter.
concern itself with such trivial matters.
Nope.
Nope.
Those eggs had.
It just knows that the more critters there are, the more fucking fun this movie's gonna be.
Yeah, I don't think there was a deep writers' room discussion over this.
No. So let's talk about who wrote this movie.
Okay.
I think it's really interesting. Mick Garris, of course. This was his directorial debut
Nice.
of a feature film. He got his start on Amazing Stories, so he was kind of the Spielberg guy.
Hey Spielberg, I'm gonna go make a sequel to that ripoff of your movie.
Right. Well, it's like David Cronenberg's fucking assistant director. His first movie was Jason X. That's where these guys start. Yeah, that's where these guys start. Is they start in horror. Unfortunately, Mick Garris never really graduated from it. He just ended up making a lot more shitty horror films.
Hey, he's just the fill-in, man. It's like we need a director. Well, Mick Garris is available. Did he do It?
No, I don't think he did it. He did stuff like The Shining, the TV Shining, yeah, which is terrible. Bag of Bones was a more recent one. He did a lot of direct-to-TV Stephen King stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think he did it.
Did he do Pet Sematary 2?
No, I don't believe so.
No, that was some other asshole. No, Mick Garris, you're not an asshole.
But Mick Garris,
oh, he did Sleepwalkers.
Yes,
There's
Yes.
that's the one I'm trying to think
he definitely did Sleepwalkers.
He did Sleepwalkers.
Mick Garris is kind of like, oh, they're making a movie of a Stephen King book that I really like. Oh, Mick Garris is directing.
Oh.
Yeah. So he also spearheaded the Masters of Horror series.
Well, that's
which came
all right.
out in the early 2000s, which was pretty good.
Yeah,
it
a
was
little
fun.
anthology series
The
with
thing
all
about-
of the big names.
Mick Garris has a really good podcast as well. I forget what it's called, but he
Critters Cast.
Critters Cast, that would be amazing. No, but he is somebody who is very intelligent about the history of horror, about horror films in general.
It's like Eli Roth. You understand that he knows what if you talk to him about it, he knows what he's talking about.
I think he's better than Eli, much better than
But
Eli
I'm just
Roth.
saying, it's
But
like
yes,
you can sit down and have
there's
that
an
conversation.
appreciation.
Yeah,
But
but then you watch his movies and it's like that's horseshit.
Right, he's just not a very good filmmaker, or writer for that matter.
Although you hit this one out of the park.
Yes, but he is a very interesting guy, and as far as just horror in general, he knows his stuff, right? So he's really good at interviews. He's really good on his podcast. He's really good in extra features and things. Like he's a kind of a guy you want to listen to when he starts talking about this stuff, genre filmmaking. But yeah, I don't really like his movies. The other writer on this movie is David Twoey.
Hey, we know that guy.
Yeah, so we have met David Twoey on our journeys with Film Seizure. Tell us what he also wrote.
Was it the first Warlock?
It was the first
the
Warlock.
first Warlock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that second one was that motherfucker who made that shitty Hellraiser movie.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, you motherfucker.
Oh God, yeah, bad.
Anthony Hickox.
Yes. Now Twoey is who created the Chronicles of Riddick, basically the Riddick movies. That's him.
Those are good flicks.
They are. They're good
fun.
flicks. David Twoey wrote and I believe directed one of my favorite TV movies of all time. One that I hope we bring to the podcast at some point.
Oh yeah, you've talked about this before.
The Grand Tour Disasters in Time, also known as Timescape. I believe that this was a I want to say it was a Showtime or HBO original or something like that. It's got Jeff Daniels.
Nice.
And what's her name?
Is he shitting on a toilet endlessly?
Uh,
oh wait, no, that's Jeff Arbuckle. Never mind.
It's like it's got Jeff Daniels and Ariana Richards, which is a name that you don't hear pop up very often. She was the little blonde girl in Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah,
yeah. She is
the little boy's in something recently too.
Well, he ended up doing stuff with Spielberg. He was in Band of Brothers.
Okay, yeah,
yeah. I think it was Band of Brothers. Either that or Pacific.
Those kids are getting work. That's good.
But Ariana Richards, she retired. She did a few more films after Jurassic Park. And then she's like a painter or something. Huh. Yeah,
hey,
I just kind of
always
had a kind of crush on Ariana Richards.
Follow your dreams. Well, yeah, we were roughly her age. Yeah.
So Grand Tour Disasters in Time, I fucking love it. It's this ridiculous time travel movie about observers.
You love time travel
I do.
stuff.
And they come back in time to witness grand disasters, right?
Ooh.
So they're basically spectators.
We are going to talk about that because that's going to help me tie in some comic book stuff.
Cool. Well, it's a great flick, and it's,
yeah, I think you know exactly what I'm talking.
I do.
Not that comic book. I'm talking about the other company.
I'm going all full Terrence Mann. Ugh, no.
No, the other company,
Yes.
The Watchers.
Yes, right. Anyway, I'm going on a bit of a diversion.
No,
but
yeah.
I find David Twoey to be a fairly interesting filmmaker in his own right.
You know, and he made Warlock right after this. You can see a little bit of a progression of him wanting to try some things. You know,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And so, Grand Tour was his directorial debut. Which,
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What year was that?
It was 92.
Okay, so right before Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all connected.
And Twoey did some interesting stuff in the 90s. I mean, he wrote The Fugitive.
God, that's a good adaptation of
He
it.
also wrote Waterworld.
That is not a
No.
no.
The Arrival, G.I. Jane.
Wait, The Arrival. That's the Charlie Sheen movie.
Yeah, which is not a bad little
pretty good.
flick.
It's
Yeah.
a good little sci-fi flick. Yeah.
And then he started making the Pitch Black stuff.
That's really good sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, and he snuck in a little submarine ghost story called Below, which he also directed. It's good. Below.
Really?
Yeah. It's
Below. I thought
Below.
you said blow.
Blow.
No. Yeah. No. Now, Blow is a halfway decent cocaine movie.
That is a great cocaine movie.
Johnny Depp before he got really weird.
Yes. That movie's great. Actually, Below
I
is
really
great.
like that
Fucking
movie.
Paul Rubens in that is
That's
awesome.
Yeah, that's one of those movies that really great soundtrack and stuff like that.
Yeah. But anyway, David Twoey, I mean, a pretty interesting career. He's sort of pretty much only made Riddick shit in the last 10 years, but
Hey, but you know what?
it pays the bills, and they're pretty good movies.
And Vin Diesel's probably paying you pretty well
Yeah.
to keep making them.
And apparently the new Riddick movie has been announced, Furia, which
cool.
I'll see it.
Sure.
Yeah,
I really like Pitch Black. I think that's maybe one we should talk about at some
I
point,
like
too.
it too. It's kind of classic gothic horror in a lot
Yeah.
of ways. Yeah,
But with really good sci-fi elements and world building and stuff like
Yep.
that. Yeah, so I mentioned soundtrack with another movie. Let's talk about the score of this movie. I thought it's very whimsical, like the Jerry Goldsmith stuff
this
that
score is
Gremlins
great.
did.
Yeah, I agree. It's really good. I kind of found myself humming it throughout the movie. It's got the theme is particularly good.
It really, like, I don't think we talk about music, which is funny because you're a music guy.
Yeah.
I don't think we talk enough about music on the show because this is a prime example of something that you don't always have the frontline recognition of, but when you think back on it, it really elevates this movie's fun factor.
For sure.
It really, like, everybody knows the Gremlins theme for
Right.
the most part. If you've
Yeah.
seen that movie, you will never forget that theme. But you can't think of that theme without thinking of little monsters rampaging. It's not Gizmo's song.
No.
It's the Gremlins song.
Yeah, it's the
villain's theme.
It's the chaos.
It's the chaos.
Whenever you hear that theme in the movies, things are going crazy.
and there's a little bit of Looney Tunes element to it.
Oh, for sure.
With like the wow, I can't think of the instrument that makes it's a percussion instrument that makes the transitions from one piece or from one part to the next.
You're on your own there, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a musician.
I'm not saving you. I got nothing.
But no, I mean somebody out there knows it. It's a percussion instrument. It's not a drum. It might be like might be part of a like a wood block. It might be a wood block sound or something. But anyway,
Sure.
It transitions from like the main part of the music to the next part. Anyway, it adds that kind of Looney Tunes kind of feel to it, and it really kind of helps you understand that. Don't worry too much about the realism of this. Just have fun. Just go in, eat your popcorn, escape for a little bit, have your fun.
Yeah.
And I think this movie kind of has that same. It's a pretty grand scheme. It's a pretty
grand theme. Yeah, it does. It has a very whimsical, charming, catchy quality to it.
Mm-hmm.
The composer is Nicholas Pike. I had to look him up. I'm glad you brought it up, Jeff, because it was I haven't seen Critters 2 in quite a while. Critters 1 I've seen probably, I don't know, 100 times. For whatever reason, Critters 2 is not one I've seen as many. And the score really grabbed me. And I looked up the composer, and sure enough, he's kind of a Mick Garris guy. He's done a lot of Mick Garris scores, Sleepwalkers included in those, that's great. You know.
Well, no, I mean, hey, get that working.
He did Chud 2, Bud the Chud.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. This is one of his. It's really his first film score.
You know what? Maybe next Christmas is Chudmas.
Ooh, all right.
Maybe.
Graveyard Shift actually was his first film score.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
It was a year before Critters 2.
Gosh, Graveyard. That was a year before Critters 2?
Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't feel like that came out before Critters. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong Graveyard Shift. There's many movies called Graveyard Shift.
Graveyard Shift, I believe that was the Stephen King anthology.
Right. I thought that came out in the early 90s, but I'm maybe that's just when I saw it.
Although maybe it's a different Graveyard Shift. It is a different one.
Yeah, I thought
it is a different one. Yeah.
It's like
this is a vampire flick, and it's totally different than the King anthology.
Because what's funny is that there's another movie like that. I think there's a movie that's coming out that sounds like or is titled The Night Flyer, and I'm like, wait, that's the fucking Stephen King.
Yeah.
But no, there's a new movie called that.
Oh, really?
Or something like that. Yeah, it's very
weird.
close to that, like The Night Flight or The Night Flyer or something.
Well, The Night Flyer I always thought was kind of like a riff on the Twilight Zone
Terror
episode.
at 37,000 feet or whatever it was called.
Exactly.
That's a different movie. Terror at 20,000 feet.
Right, which they're
Nightmare
actually,
at
which
20,000
that's being remade into a movie.
It doesn't need a movie. It can just be an hour-long Twilight Zone.
Who is it that's doing? I don't know. I heard about that recently, but anyway.
Is it John Lithgow or William Shatner?
Was,
will they be cameos?
There was an interesting pedigree behind it, but I can't remember enough to talk on it.
Hell, I can't. It's a Nightmare at 20,000 feet or
20.
something.
Is it 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea?
Well, there's a Nightmare at 37,000.
We're losing so much cred right now. Jesus Christ.
Well, when the cores and the pibbers start to flow, it gets a little shaky, and we've got one more Critters for tonight.
We do.
And it's going to be a shitty one too.
It's not a good one. Yeah.
No, back to
it is 20,000 feet. Nightmare at 20,000 feet.
There you go. There is a Nightmare at 37,000 feet, which was a airplane hostage or move, but William Shatner's in that too.
Right, but this,
but it's not a monster on the wing of a plane.
But that's what I always kind of thought of Night Flyers, because it is kind of like flying creatures at night. I don't know.
It's called a gremlin.
Yeah.
It's a gremlin.
Whatever.
No, the Night Flyer was a vampire.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the Stephen King Night Flyer was a bat person, like a Batman.
Yeah.
Like Batman.
Like Batman. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman, bitch.
I'm a Night Flyer. Anyway, let's bring it back to let's steer let's steer our truck back, because everybody had a truck in this fucking movie.
Everybody did.
Let's steer the truck back onto the road.
Perfect continuity, I might add.
Yeah. So early on, when Scott Grimes realizes the critters are back, he's hanging out with this girl who I think she makes pretty clear she always had a crush on him or something.
Yeah,
she's younger than he is, I think.
Yeah, but she looks older. And,
yeah, she sure does. And I was uncomfortable.
And he didn't recognize her because he made a joke that she was really homely looking.
Well, she had a lot of zits, braces, and glasses, I think she
And that's
said.
another point in this movie that I think is funny. They decided that they needed to do Critters 2 in Grover's Bend again, because that was the whole stinger at the end of the first Critters, where there were eggs left over. So then they're like, all right, we got to do the Critters sequel in Grover's Bend, but how do we do that with returning cast? Because Dee Wallace wasn't back. Mr. Brown wasn't back. The sister wasn't back. April wasn't back. So
I missed April.
I didn't. Mr. Big Time. You notice that the girl he kind of has the thing for though, Critters 2, looks a lot like a sister.
No, she looks a lot like Adrienne Barbeau.
Yeah, a little. But anyway, so what do they do to get Scott Grimes to come back to Grover's Bend?
He's visiting his nana.
Yeah, he's visiting his nana
on Easter.
Who we didn't meet in the first movie, but lives in Grover's Bend.
No, but it's got a great moment that comes up in after the first Critters attack with Scott Grimes.
Yes, Scott Grimes busts into Nana's farmhouse after she's had sort of the critters in the kitchen moment, like from Gremlins with the mom. He busts in and he says, what does he say?
He said, Nana, the critters
are here. Yeah. And at that point, we're just like, wait a minute. We've heard them call them critters a few times now, but that's just what they call them now.
Right. They didn't have a better name for them.
They don't call them the Krites, which the bounty hunters call them the Krites.
Kill Krites.
They call them the critters. Because why? Because that's what the movies are called.
Right. I mean, at least there's a reason why the Gremlins are called Gremlins.
Well,
because Mr. Futterman's story about Gremlins in World War II.
Exactly.
The Japanese are shipping
actually,
Gremlins over.
And that's actually an
old term.
tall tale, too.
Yeah.
The Gremlins. Yep. Yeah. So, but it's just one of those moments where it's sort of silly, but you can't help but have fun with that.
Yeah. It's like, and Nana's like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
basically,
no shit. They were just in my refrigerator.
They just threw a tomato at me.
Yeah.
Nana gives away not a chocolate Easter bunny, a carom Easter bunny. Fuck you, Nana.
I didn't know what carom was. Jeff had to explain it to me. It's like a fake chocolate.
Yeah, it's gross.
With no milk.
No milk. It's not milk chocolate, but it's meant to be a substitute for milk.
It's like a vegan chocolate.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Anyway, so like the critters attack and like what was the girl's name? What's the girl's name? Megan. Megan is like driving Scott Grimes around, and Brad Brown. Not Scott Grimes. Brad.
Megan, played by Leanne Curtis.
Who still looks exactly the same today.
Best known for Critters 2.
Of course she is.
She was in 16 Candles a few years before this. I don't know what she...
Yeah. So she like, it's like she drives up and she notices they see Lin Shaye, who's returning as the same character from the first one. And it's like, Lin
Shaye has a different job, though.
Yeah, because apparently you can easily switch jobs in this small town.
She's multi-talented.
Anyway, she's working for Megan's dad, who runs the newspaper.
Right. She's a journalist
in a small town, which is basically like the cows are pooping this much today.
Right. It's like, Farmer Ben had another cow.
Yeah. So anyway, so like the critters come out and like they're like throwing themselves at Megan's truck, and it like dents in the door, and like for the rest of the movie the dent is there. It's amazing.
Perfect continuity.
This is a movie that would not fuck that up.
It'd fuck it up 3 different ways.
Yeah. They would even have a different color truck if they could.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but this movie,
masterpiece. It's masterful. Masterful filmmaking.
Cinema verite.
Yes. They had a person in charge of continuity who did their job correctly.
Or they filmed it in order.
Yeah, that's probably what they
did. Anyway, they did replace... I like the guy who played the sheriff character. But they replaced Emmett Walsh.
Yeah, they couldn't get Emmett Walsh back.
And that's a bummer.
That's a shame.
Emmett Walsh is always welcome.
The guy they got though, Barry Corbin, character actor up the ass.
Oh man, he's got
200 things. Yeah, over 200 credits to his name. He's always kind of plays a good old boy or sheriff or something. But great actor. He is more than up for it.
Yeah. Oh, he's giving it all, and he even pulls off the Yosemite Sam, like shooting. His guns,
like firing his guns, pew pew pew.
When they think they won,
he comes in, he saves the day at one point and shoots shoots a bunch of critters with his 6-shooters to
Yeah,
save,
and then
to
he,
save
like,
Scott
spins
Grimes.
them and-
Spins him, puts him in his holster, and says, "I'm back."
Yeah, because the first thing that happens when he hears the critters are back is
He's
he
getting the
leaves
fuck out of town. Yeah, he's not the sheriff anymore. They voted him out. He's like, this town can kiss my ass.
Yeah, he got voted out in a landslide
Yeah.
in a small town, which is probably like he got outvoted like 50-2.
50-2. Yeah, exactly.
He and Lin Shaye voted for himself, and then everybody
This
else.
town can kiss my ass. Yeah, he's out of there.
And but then he comes back at just the right moment.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
It
I
is
mean,
good stuff.
it's good stuff. It's I like the guy who played him. Emmett Walsh was a little bit. I mean, he's missing, but that's okay.
Well, Emmett Walsh is a national treasure.
Yes.
God rest his soul.
Yes. Yeah. No. And yeah. I mean, so you want to? So I think we've gotten to the point now. Let's talk about what's the big plan to defeat the critters this time.
So they're gonna lure them all into the Polar Ice hamburger factory.
It's a hamburger factory.
So there is a legit hamburger factory just on the outskirts of town that's got a gate and everything.
And it's basically everything for the hungry heifer. It's like it's got a big tub of pickles.
Yeah.
It's got big tubs of
Yeah.
ketchup.
Yeah,
and mustard.
It's the food processing plant for the Hungry Heifer franchise,
Which
right?
apparently is located in
Grover's
Central
Bend,
in Grover's Bend.
Kansas. Yeah, who knew? So the plan is to lure them all there by like throwing all the meat and everything into a big pile and then blowing fans to get the scent out.
Which is that's genius.
Yeah, it works. And it works. They all start. Let's roll, and they're all rolling to the fucking plant, and they're stuffing dynamite and shit in the meat because they're gonna
in
blow
the
'em all
pickles
up.
too.
Yeah, because that was the genesis for this plan was Scott Grimes saying,
Well,
let's
just
blow
blow
them
'em
up.
up.
Yeah, worked in the first movie.
Yeah. But they also blew shit up.
So it seems to be working for a while, but then the winds change.
Right, and so some of the critters like fuck this live meat.
Yeah.
And a big critter is like, no cheeseburgers, no bones.
Cheeseburgers, no bones.
And so he leads them back to the factory. Turns out that the big giant critter is
Ugg. Yeah.
Ugg has found his calling.
He's transformed into a critter. Yeah.
Yes, and then he transforms back to plain face Ugg.
Yep.
And they close him in, and the place just boom.
They detonate the dynamite and it blows them all to smithereens, or so we think.
But what happens?
Well, they hear a big rumble.
And so, what's that?
And bursting out of the big freaking door is a giant critter ball.
It's a ball of critters.
It is huge. It's like, I joked about, it's like that Japanese video game, the Katamari or whatever, that swallows up
It
things.
swallows up and keeps getting bigger and bigger.
It's huge.
And so it starts rolling over people in the town and just shredding them as they roll over them.
And
It's fantastic.
It's like
yeah,
it rolls
it's just
over
all mouths.
It rolls over this one guy and it leaves just bones.
Bones.
It's
And a little bit of a grease
Yeah.
grease spot. Yeah. So before this happened, like when it looked like the critters were coming back to town, Charlie got the fuck out of town
Yeah, he
himself.
ran away.
But what we didn't know was he was getting in the spaceship and he like kamikazes into that big giant ball of critters.
Yeah, and he yells, "I'm a bounty hunter!"
Blows them the fuck.
Yeah, completely blows them up with the spaceship.
Yeah, and that is
It's like the hero's
it's the hero's
ending.
journey.
Yeah,
You know, he found his place.
Right.
He is good enough.
right.
He used his brain.
He found
bits.
his courage and all of that.
Yep.
Yep.
So yeah, we got a big ball of flaming critters.
Flaming critters.
That's fantastic.
So there's a couple things. Of course, Charlie didn't die. He parachuted out.
yeah.
There's
but
a weird scene at the end with, because in tribute to Charlie,
Charlie,
Ugg transforms into Charlie.
But then Charlie comes back, so like Ugg's like, well, I guess okay.
Yeah, so there's kind of like a couple of strange things that happen. Charlie ends up staying, and Ugg goes up in a spaceship that somebody sends for him.
Yeah, he looks like Poochie leaving.
Yeah.
I'm going back to my home planet now.
Yeah. And then the sheriff Harv throws He's like, I'm still getting the fuck out of town.
Yeah, he's got
He's
like a
on the
Hawaiian
bus with
shirt.
a Hawaiian
on.
shirt. He's like, I'm retiring out of
He
here.
tells the bus driver, it's like, because the bus driver's like, what the fuck did I just see?
Yeah.
And he's like, if I were you, I'd just get in that bus.
I wouldn't tell nobody
What?
nothing about none of this or something like that. It's all sorts of double negatives and triple negatives. It's great. But then he tosses the sheriff's badge to Charlie, and Charlie's
Yeah, that town's fucked.
yeah. What'd you say? Harv's gonna come back in here. It's just gonna be a crater.
It's just going to be a crater.
Poor
Yeah.
Charlie.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had parachuted out, and Charlie lived. But it's weird in the sense that there's no stinger.
No.
There's no setup for another movie.
No, I think they were totally.
You would think that Bob Shea though would be like, "We gotta make a Critters 3," you know, and there'd be some kind of
Yeah, like Leonardo DiCaprio should show up and it's like, hey guys.
yeah.
Dun, 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 and then next time.
But it isn't. It
No,
ends.
it just
and
ends.
It ends with two really great title cards kind of things.
Yeah, first thing it says, we want to thank the people of Grover's Bend, Kansas. Without them, none of this would have been possible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that was a real play. Like, they had me going,
It's great.
I'm an idiot.
It's great. Like
Yeah.
that is just a nice little pie in the face.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
joke. Yeah. And then at the very end, it says no critters were harmed in the making of this film, which is fucking great.
Yeah.
Like that's just great.
Good job.
Yeah,
movie.
the people who made this movie, Mick Garris, Twoey, Bob Shea, they
know
knew
what they're
exactly
doing.
what this movie was. It was self-aware in all the right ways, and it's just a joy to watch.
Yeah, the fact that this didn't sweep the Oscars in 1988 is amazing.
I still think that there's a pending protest.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's like Rain Man. Fuck off.
Fuck that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're the best.
Yeah. 103 critters. 103.
Was there?
I don't know.
Oh,
I was doing a really bad Rain Man impersonation.
Oh.
Jeez.
yeah. It's like when somebody make that cut of this movie where Charlie comes in, hits the big ball of critters. The big ball of critters just everywhere, and then like it cuts instantly, or Dustin Hoffman pops up from the corner of the screen. And he's like 407 critters.
Definitely 407.
Oh man. So, I think we did it.
Yeah, I think we did
I think we did it. This is good stuff.
Watch
This
this
is good
movie,
stuff. Watch
folks.
this movie.
It's funny.
It is. It's fun. It's funny. I mean, the first one helps you understand like Brad and everybody else, but this is. I mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's worth seeing on its own.
Yep.
I think I probably like this one best.
Yeah, I like this one best too.
No fat. Just get right into the critter action.
Yeah.
So what do we got? What do we got on deck for next week?
Well, we have Critters 3.
Oh my God! What?
Can you believe it?
Oh my God!
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, I thought Crittersmas meant something else.
Yeah.
I thought it was the baby critters, Jesus.
Oh,
the
yeah.
critters, these.
The Critters.
Jesus critter.
Critters 3 is going to be a little bit different experience, I think, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
Yeah.
So be sure to be back here next week.
Yeah, get your asses back here for week 3 of Very Merry Crittersmas.
Yep.
You get to hear all about Leonardo DiCaprio's screen debut.
Yep. Pussy Posse is just a bunch of critters, aren't they?
Yeah.
Bitchin'.
Well, hey, there's your PG-13 breastises connection. Draw me like one of your French girls, Jeff.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. If you okay, here's the cut of Titanic I want to see. Replace Leonardo DiCaprio with a human-sized critter.
Oh my God. What would it be like? It would be like the female gremlin.
Oh my God, Billy Zane.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh, we're blowing our minds over here, folks. There are so many connections
Oh
to the
my
Critters
God.
franchise and Titanic. I can't even believe it.
They both should have been Academy Award-winning movies.
I'm losing my goddamn mind.
Yeah. All right. So Critters 3 next week. Filmseizure.com is where you will be able to find that.
Yeah.
Also, We got Facebook. We got Twitter.
We got the Facebook. We got the Twitter. It's all Film Seizure.
Yep.
Just put in Film Seizure. You'll find it.
You'll find it there. Also, we now have some stuff on YouTube. We're putting those episodes over on YouTube.
You can subscribe to our channel on YouTube. You can subscribe to our channel on SoundCloud.
Yeah. However you want to hear us babbling on about critters.
We are just trying to make
things.
it as convenient as possible for you to listen to us.
Yeah.
Just a couple of a-holes.
Just a couple of a-holes. I mean, however it is easiest for you to probably get high or drunk, whatever your poison is, and listen to a couple of a-holes.
I mean, maybe if it's really convenient and you convince us, if you maybe have some PBR, some banquet beer, we might just come over and talk to you.
Yeah,
we'll just do our episode in your fucking living room.
Right to your fucking face holes.
Can't get much more convenient than that.
Yeah.
Just give us some beer. We'll do it.
And a plane ticket if you're, and a passport if you're overseas. We're big in Europe.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
We're big in Europe.
We're big in Europe. Are we big in Japan?
We're big in Japan. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm glad.
Yeah,
That's
right?
good.
Yeah. Also, hey, you know what? You can
what?
read about me watching bad movies.
It's funny, guys.
At bmovieanima.com as well. So I just want to throw that out.
Y'all should read it. It's funny.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good if I do say so myself. Anyway, until next week when we continue this Crittersmas Polar Express.
Oh, I like that.
I am Jeff Arbuckle.
I'm Jason Oliver, and you have been listening to Film Seizure.
No more Christ. Kill Christ.